Anyways, though, speaking of a small world, actually, I don't know where I'm going with that, but Ratchet and Clank Future.
That's right.
It's super busy. We're coming down. We're trying to get the E3 demo done. What's going on, Brian?
Madness, sheer madness. Bunch of chickens running around with their heads cut off. It's crazy. It's bedlam. We are wrapping things up for both our third major focus test disc and our new demo that we're going to have for E3. And a lot of polish is going in. We're optimizing, attempting to improve the frame rate. We just are filling the screen with so much stuff that now we have to figure out, okay, how do we make it all work?
And talk a little bit about what goes in that. Like, how do you improve frame rate? I don't think that's something that we really ever actively talked about in the past much. But so what's the process?
Well, it's really reducing the amount of processing that's occurring, and by doing that, you have to remove stuff that the player may not be seeing. So an example might be we might have a whole bunch of enemies in a particular level, and there's some enemies that are actually doing processing or taking up processing cycles. They'll be in buildings somewhere doing their thing. You never really see them, so we could turn some of that stuff off. We also have just a lot of various ambient objects that are flying around. In past Ratchets, we've had flying cars, we've had ambient creatures, and so some of that stuff the player's not seeing either, and we can either turn that off or even remove some of it. The first pass we do in putting these levels together, we just throw a whole bunch of stuff in. We're not really thinking about processing power. We just want to make the game great. And then we begin to realize, okay, this is rather inefficient over here, so we remove that. There's a lot of coding that the programmers do. Moo could probably give you more info on this when you guys talk to him. But it's just taking algorithms that are very inefficient and making them more efficient, reducing the lines of code that the game has to run through to do certain things.
How are we feeling about frame rate, where it's going to end up going into the final game?
So far, everyone I've talked to from engine, gameplay, and art are very confident that we can do it. And it's not just on the programming side that things get optimized. Also on the art side, there's a lot of things that can be reduced. So we're feeling pretty good. There's no big surprises. We're putting in. The funny thing is as we're taking out stuff or streamlining the code, we're also still throwing some stuff in. So we're doing a lot of effects. And we have an effects team, Matt Hassenplug and Ian Gargle, who are doing an amazing job on just bringing this world to life. And they create all of the weapon effects, the explosions, all of the anything that breaks or gets shattered. There's like various rubble and architectural pieces that get destroyed. That's all them. And so we're throwing that stuff in, which is really making the level look awesome.
Cool.
And then the other thing, of course, we're doing is we're addressing a lot of the issues from that came up in our last focus test. A lot of data that we got from there, and some of the stuff is like weapon aiming. We've been improving that. We actually had it where the player didn't even have to look where they were shooting; just kind of close their eyes and press a button, and it would automatically target an enemy and kill them. So putting a little bit of skill into the game.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. So we're kind of narrowing the weapon aiming cone. And then we've been making a lot of improvements to the camera, and that's something that on every project is a big ordeal.
Sure.
And we really need one guy just who focuses on the camera throughout the whole project. And there's just a lot of finesse required because when you don't get it right, everybody notices, and when you do get it right,
sure,
no one notices. So it's one of those things. So that's pretty much where Ratchet is. I mean, we've been working really hard. It's been quite eventful here, and I think we're looking forward to our July 4th weekend where we'll have a stable disc, and we can take a little break before we move into the next phase, which is the beta disc.
So one other thing that seems to be going on from our leads meeting is the tools feature freeze, and can we talk a little bit about like what that entails?
Sure. I don't know if some of you remember during our first podcast we were talking about Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction and how our new tools release or a new big update on our tools that we used to make the game, we're starting to break the game because everything was kind of new. Well, a lot of those have been fixed, improved, and they've been working very well, and so we've frozen any new kind of updates that we do to our tools because we're in the home stretch now. And we can't be introducing any new factors. the funny thing is anytime you introduce an improvement, most of the time you're also introducing another problem. So we've pretty much stabilized where we are, and we just need to finish the game. And we want to freeze our tools and not add anything else.
Cool. Everything's starting to really come together.
Yeah.
Well, one of the fun
exciting.
One of the fun things, like when everything starts to come together, is now we get to start to take video, and we get to start to take a lot more screenshots. So one of the things I was actually doing last week, and I'll be doing it, and technically when this podcast, I've been doing it this week, is taking the game and going to a trailer house in Hollywood and doing some recording of game footage and cutscenes so that they can begin to put together some of the trailers that you'll be seeing down the line. So we're actually getting to the point where we have, the polished parts of the game that are representative of what the final game will be, and we can put that out there and let people see it. So it's a pretty cool process.
Yeah, well, I think at this point a lot of people really get to see the game and understand how it's coming together, because a few months ago it may have felt like we had a focus test disc, but some of our cutscenes were temp, we were missing a few pieces here and there, and so really when you start to see the final version of the game and how it all links together, it gets really exciting. Our goal has been to create a living, breathing CG animated experience, and so what that means is just a lot more work on the cinematic side and how we process our movies and put them together. And we've got a great team of animators and audio folks. And what has happened is we've had to capture a scene multiple times to do various tricks and compositing to then put it together so it all fits together. And it's really amazing how it's shaping up. I wish I could give more details, but you guys will see it in in a few. Actually, I don't know, when is the demo coming out?
Well, we're aiming to show at E3.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be shown at E3 so people will see it. Outside of that,
TBD.
Yes.
TBD. Yes.
One of our favorite acronyms sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I think the cutscenes, I know Ryan and I got to see the, I was sitting down with Chad to go over, kind of some of the areas that look good and, where we want to take screenshots of and stuff like that. And, just watching the cutscenes and the way the animation is and the lighting and the polish and, the voice acting, it's all kind of all starting to come in together into one thing. And it's like you're seeing these, near final sequences, they're getting everything close to that point, and it's just awesome. It just looks fantastic, and
level of detail is just crazy.
Yeah, between the detail, between the light, between the story, and the humor, I think we have some really cool stuff that people are really going to be excited to see. So I'm very excited about E3 personally.
Cool.
But I think that's all we've got on Ratchet this week. We'll definitely have more here around E3 time when we can discuss the E3 demo in a little more detail. I think you guys will definitely be excited to see it, and I think we're excited to talk about it and show it.